Yeah.
How do we change that? Work-life
Yeah.
balance, man. It's all about work-life balance.
Yeah, totally.
I'm on
What
a,
what
I'm on a,
go, Billy.
we got to fix that latency. I'm on a trip. I mean, speaking of that, I'm on a trip right now to Prague. There's ETH Prague happening. ETH Berlin just happened, and it was a really crazy, hectic week with lots of talks and workshops and playtests, and doing a workshop here. But also that life balance came with my partner and my co-founder, who are both legitimately contributing to the game that we're building right now. We went to the conference this morning, but mostly we've been enjoying the train, doing lots of nonograms, playing games, and walking around a medieval town, looking at Renaissance artworks, things like that.
That sounds excellent. Wait, when you're doing nonograms, are you doing them physically or is this like a digital version of it?
We all three did nonograms for about 4 hours on the train, and I finished mine just in time. And of course, I have it with me in my bag right here. Let's see if I can find the one that I finished. Also related to A, it is, oh God, what was the page number? Yeah, I'm flooded with these things. I'm just literally surrounded by them all the time. Here we go. This is,
Oh,
I think, like 3.5 hours work
how perfect.
straight.
Mitch, how perfect is
Love
that
that,
right
right?
now?
Very proud of that. Wow.
When you finish those, do you like, oh, we'll talk about this a little bit with Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup, but is there any kind of like reward from it? Like, are you marking things off? Like, do you say, like, do you have any books you finished? Like, is there any kind of like, when it's done, is it done? Like, do you hold on
I
to
mean,
it in any way?
you have them held on in the book itself, and every time you finish, it is like such an extreme relief. Especially on like the train, where I don't know if you've been on it between Berlin and Prague, but like as soon as you get in the Czech Republic, like it starts like jerking on the corners way more, and you're like, what just changed right now? And so you're like kind of drawing it, and like the tension's getting higher. You're trying to finish it, and like you're all tensed up, and it's like it's a bunch of small little like logic puzzles, and every time you get one, it's this little pat on the back. So you have this like achievement adrenaline churning throughout the whole thing, which is really fun. And then the final release, like, oh my god, I'm fucking done. Please, finally let me out of this hell. But you also have this really satisfying thing where you like look at the picture and you're like, I did it. It's been released. I've released the image from the like chaos, and no, it's a great feeling. I mean, I've been taking pictures of them on. It's the only thing I've used Instagram, I think, for it lately. And every picture is me flipping it off at the end because you're just so fucking mad at it by the time you're done. You're like, I can't believe you held me captive for that long.
Okay. Yeah. Device.
We're gonna splice in a different feel good moment after that
Yeah.
story instead of audience.
All right, we're all
I
But
haven't
good.
even been
that's
checking.
it's like an
I think
interesting mix of emotions then, right? Like you're flicking it
Well,
off
I
like
mean,
fuck you, or is it like
yeah, but you like, I think it's every game, where you decide to let yourself get emotionally entangled, and you're like simultaneously like, obviously it's optional, but you've chosen to make it a requirement. And so, you only have yourself to blame, but you're also blaming the thing instead because you don't want to acknowledge that you did this to yourself. I think
yeah.
I'd hope, or at least there's a similar emotion you can relate to the topic at hand, this game at hand. Can you maybe relate that to your all's game experiences in general? This one specifically.
Yeah, but I mean, and this is something like I think that what Elden Ring taught me is that dying is fun. Like it's usually comical. Like it usually makes me laugh out loud. And so I rarely ever get rage from it. Like, oh fuck, like it's like that. There's maybe a little bit of that, like especially like if I knew I missed a move or something. But um I'm trying to think of it as like if it's outrage. I feel like outrage actually is usually the kind of thing that would make me put a game down. But do y'all power through it?
Um, yeah, I don't know. I like I do I can get pretty frustrated dying at Elden Ring, but it keeps you coming back for more. Like there's that sort of like sadistic moment. I will like speaking of puzzles, I've played I've been playing a lot of games since the last time I talked to you, actually. Like I've really
Same.
there's a lot of stuff out. So I have been playing Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. So this is the new
Yes.
game out, published by Annapurna, developed by Simogo, who previously published Device 6, which was a pretty innovative mobile game. And then published Sayonara Wild Hearts, which is totally different genre, and I love it. Like Sayonara Wild Hearts is, I mean, really one of my favorite games of all time, and one of the games I would hold up to anybody as an example of like an incredibly artistic achievement in video games. And I've been playing Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, and it's a puzzle game, so sort of related to what you're talking about. Like in this, but more in like in the genre of like Myst or something like that. And to be honest, this is, not a very entertaining review, but meh, not quite sure why people are loving this so much. They're just sort of like baseline pattern recognition tests, like connected through like walking with rooms, and I don't like there's something none of them have that feeling of like there's a way that a nonogram or even like a crossword puzzle is just like very clearly a representation of proficiency in a certain type of logic, and doesn't profess to be anything more than that, and that allows you to kind of lose yourself in just like the rhythm of it, as opposed to being wrapped up in the notion of it as an intelligence test. So I've been struggling with that one a little bit. I mean, I'm like
I
80%
can
done, and I can't really bring myself to beat it. I'm just like, all right, I know that I can beat this game. I don't really care anymore.
watching the
Hmm.
trailer, I can understand how that would come. It also makes me realize that sort of like puzzles are so individualistic. You don't want like a progressive path of difficulty. It's so specific to the player and the category of play that you're doing that like it would be very difficult to like string together puzzles in a way that like feels like they're sequentially supposed to be happening in this order. Where like really you want them to be concentrated into the thing that they are and then applied to you and your specific like skill and level criteria. Am I right now willing and able to do like one really crazy hard puzzle for a long time, or do I need like one really small one that I can finish quickly, or where am I on that spectrum? And asking like sort of the game to decide that for you in a narrative sequence feels like a really tough sell or tough problem to solve as a game designer.
Mhm. But you know what? Actually, now that you say that, it makes me realize something about the difference between puzzles and puzzle games, right? The difference between a nonogram, a crossword puzzle, a Wordle, and like Myst, right? In a puzzle game, all right, in a puzzle, there's a logic system. In Sudoku, there's a logic system. You apply the logic system, it's challenging, it's an exercise, or whatever, right? In a puzzle game, you are tasked with determining what is the logic system that's being presented to you. And then once you do, it's usually very quick, right? You come into a puzzle room, it's a mirror room. Oh, the numbers are upside down, you got to flip them. Oh, I figured that out. Once you figure out what is the logic of this puzzle, it's easy to solve. You walk into the next puzzle room and it's like, oh, the numbers are mirrored. And once you figure that out, it's very simple. It is like the recognition of a logic system, not the implementation of it.
Right? Meta puzzles.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it does make me also think of escape rooms, which I know they're kind of cheesy. I have really enjoyed some of my experiences in escape rooms.
I've never
I
been to
won't shit on
one. I
escape
want to
room.
go.
Really, I think that we should do an in real life version of this podcast, whatever we call it, and do an escape room together.
Oh, that would be great. Yes.
I'll wear GoPros on top of our heads.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. There's also a VR escape room in Berlin. I wonder if there's established versions in your all's local cities. We could do a collaborative VR escape room where we all feel like we're in the same space together.
Oh, that would be really fun. I would love to do that. I've never used my headset. Yeah, I think that'd be great. I don't know how you capture that, but um,
There
yeah,
was two that
that's
I went to. One, and the one that was the craziest part about one was that they would do things like put a two by four on the ground. So it was like just in a giant empty warehouse, and they would like kind of lead you around, and like different things were really physical at the same time that they were in like a AR VR kind of feeling. The craziest one was where they just put a two by four on the ground, and then in your VR it looks like you're walking over like a chasm, and you're like tightrope walking on this two by four, and it's so terrifying, even though it's just like ground everywhere around you. There's some tricks that work.
So look, today we were gonna play Travis, you picked our game this week. We're gonna play Dungeon Crawlstone
Yeah.
Soup, which was a game that I'd never played until 15 minutes ago. Billy, have you ever played this game? B- Billy, have you ever played Dungeon
I
Crawlstone
have
Soup?
not.
Okay, so do you
I
want
opened
to
up to
why don't
Wikipedia and
we
got
continue this
notes.
chat
Yeah, I want to pull this
while we
later.
log into the game? So I thought it would be fun since I did actually take like 15 minutes before this to just get acquainted with the controls, but I haven't really played. And so Travis, maybe by way of introduction to the game, I even got like the controls cheat sheet up here because within 30 seconds
Yeah,
of
you
playing the
need
game,
that.
I realized it uses every key on the keyboard. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
but maybe you
I love
can
this game
walk
so
me
much.
through this and tell me
Sure.
what the heck this is, why you wanted to play this, what we are doing here. So
Yeah. Okay.
let me share my screen here and share
I don't
my
know what's your character's name?
Wait,
Mitch.
so are we playing this real time together, all multiplayer? Do I go to crawl.devils.org, play online now?
If, if you go to crawl, are you logged in? There are different servers, and I would imagine Mitch is probably at crawl.dcss.io, but I'm not sure. Let's
I
see.
am at I am at
Oh, he's on a different server. Different
Oh,
server. Okay. That's fine. CBROBEOTATO.org 8443.
so you guys can
What's
join
your
my server.
character's name? Oh yeah, there you are.
What?
Yeah, we can watch you.
All right. That's
Okay,
great.
so is so as soon as you
What's
start,
the
as soon as you start, I can like anyone if anyone's watching too, like they can go to that link and watch you play live.
All right,
So
I'm gonna go. You know, why don't I start a new game? Because I only played like 5 minutes. So we can do character creation together. Obviously.
yeah,
All right. So here we go. Loading Dungeon Crawlstone Soup. Um, it was pretty exciting. All right, guys, what character are we doing? I would like a simple
do you want
character.
to?
No, no, actually, I'm just gonna
Okay,
do
we're
whatever
gonna
Travis
do.
says.
Yeah, okay. I Because so I have been playing this game for three three or 4 years now, on and off. I only have one build I play, and it is the noob build. And that's what we're going to do because
Okay,
that's the one that I know the best.
okay.
So we're going to be a Minotaur Berserker.
Yes, Minotaur Berserker.
Yeah, and we're going to go with a hand
We're
axe.
gonna okay.
And you can see that there's like all these stats associated with it, right? And so now let me just see. Yeah, there. I see you on the lobby now, so I can just watch you play it live on my screen.
All right, Mitchell F.
Um,
Chan, the chopper.
So you should see right now it says one spectator. That's me. I'm watching you. I think I
Amazing.
could actually leave message. Wait. I have to log in on the server. I don't. I'm not going to log in right now, but I could like leave chats with you. So it's really fun, like too, to like just watch other like you can see where everyone is in the dungeon, and you can kind of follow along with them. Okay, right. So you have like you can use your cursor
Yeah.
to kind of click around and move, right?
Oh, I didn't even know you could do
Um,
that.
it also is it do arrow keys work for
Yeah,
movement as
arrow
well?
keys work. I was doing all keyboard before. So, all right.
You could see you auto collected that scroll, like you just went over it.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Press like O as in octopus.
Oh. Oh.
Okay, so that is O is auto explore. And
Mm.
so if you just press O, it's going to go around until something happens. Okay, so the
Ah.
thing that happened now is a goblin comes into view,
Okay.
right? And so now if you press tab,
It's auto battle.
and just keep pressing tab, yeah,
Yeah.
and it just kind of auto battles. And so now you got a rat up in view, so you keep pressing tab.
Right. Now, should I pick up this club?
No, don't pick up the
All
club.
right. No.
But you just got some battling to do right now, so take care of everything you have, and then we'll talk about the inventory.
Okay. Trog accepts my kill. What does that mean?
Yes, we'll talk about Trog too.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh man. Goblin. Boom. All right. Dagger.
Okay, so one of the reasons that Minotaur Berserker is great, is because you're really beefy and like nothing in the first few levels can really kill you. So it's nice in that way because it's like you're kind of guaranteed to not to leave the early game, which is nice.
Okay.
You can really mess up and not, but now if you press O, it should auto collect all that stuff. Yeah,
Right.
press it again, and
Oh,
and and so
back.
you're using um the kind of series of events that have happened on the left hand side of the screen
Mm-hmm.
are really important.
Okay.
Hit the question mark really quick so you can kind of talk about how you find
I'm
things in
being
here.
chased by a lot of people in mine. What's going on?
Your witch?
How do I
Okay,
die?
so if you hit question mark, and if you hit question mark again, that's the list of all the commands.
Oh, okay, great.
And so this is kind of like where all the stuff happens. Like you can actually kind of autoplay this game for a long time, but by just using O and tab,
Okay.
right? O to auto explore, tab to auto battle, and you can go like maybe 4 floors without actually having to interact with the game. Like it'll just kind of autoplay for you in a
Okay.
lot of ways. Um, but yeah, so like if you heal over time, so when we talk about like roguelikes, this one is a lot closer to like what Rogue was in terms of the mechanics of it. Um, we're playing version 31, which came out this year, I think. It is a game that has been in development for I guess 20 years now, and or like and what's interesting about it is it's not a development where they always add stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of times new versions take out old features. And so it's that's why when you can play, it can say, do you want to play version 31? Do you want to play like an older version? Because people get like certain rule sets. Yeah, go ahead and kill that. And then afterwards, press P. I think, is it P? Oh, hold on. You've reached level 2. Press
Oh,
return.
nice. Level 2. Crushing it.
Okay. Or is it P or G? What haven't we
Uh
hit G?
oh,
Okay, G is get.
G is to
So
pick
G is
stuff up.
get.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
G
okay,
is
so now
get.
you have boomerangs.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and auto explore till you see like another enemy, and then I'll show you how to use
Here we go.
boomerangs. Okay,
Okay.
so it's sleeping. This is great. Hit F and hit
Ah.
F again.
Oh yeah.
And boomerangs are awesome early on. Hit. Oh man. We want to look at our kind of our stats. A or M. Try A. What does A do?
Here's
Oh
M.
yeah, okay. So these are your stats, and so right now you are kind of splitting your experience between fighting, axes, armor, and dodging. You can see that throwing also is up there now, and
Mm-hmm.
like so that boomerang that you just threw that would go under throwing. So if you hit F to again, like so you see A B C D E F.
Yeah.
So now you're putting 12% of experience gained into throwing.
Oh.
The rule of thumb for this early on is to kind of min max, and
Mm-hmm.
so like fighting axes and armor, like just doing those three is great. But armor, this is like the kind of setup is right. Hit A one more time, and so you're gonna if you do A, then it turns into a star, which means you're putting even more kind of focus on that.
Yep.
Leveling up fighting and axes as quickly as possible is great, just for like kind of
Right.
uh, power.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And and what's really cool, right? So I'm watching you play on the server right now, and
Yeah.
I'm seeing you go through the interface and everything. Like I get to
Right.
see like all of you highlighting, changing all of it.
Oh, it's like
So
a full
because
screen
everything is yeah, and uh So yeah, you have fighting at 54% right now, axe is at 30, armor and dodge. That's great. I think that that's like, because really what that means is you're going to get more HP really quickly,
Mhm.
and your attacks are going to be stronger. Okay, so you can escape out of this, and uh, yeah. So hit I for inventory really quick.
Okay.
If we look at your inventory, we have scrolls and potions, but the scrolls, they have like randomized names. The potion is just emerald. And so hits C for the scroll, for the first scroll. And so you can see it. It's like, okay, it has like a whole kind of, almost every item in the game has some kind of quote from a book that goes along with it.
Mhm.
There are unique items or items that have kind of special inscriptions and things as well. Um, if you hit I to inscribe, you say my first scroll. Um, and so there is a kind of a mechanic to this game of like knowing the system to know what most likely the scroll is. So usually in the first couple of levels, the scroll that you have the most of could be an identify scroll, but it's not guaranteed. The scroll
Right.
could have negative effects too, and the same for the potions. So yeah, go ahead and kill that dude. Fighting is up. Get that scroll. Now let's go back into the inventory and just like read one of the scrolls to see what it
Okay.
is. Yeah,
Yes.
just go ahead and read your first scroll to see what it is.
C
So hit
read.
C and then R.
Oh.
And it says, okay, great. So that first scroll was a scroll of identify, and
Okay.
so now you can start identifying the other things you have.
Okay.
And so I would say go with identifying the potion for the time being,
Okay. Uh,
just because in case if it's a health potion, then we'll have it. Potion of attraction.
okay.
So what's a potion of attraction? You can go back into your inventory and kind of see what that is. F.
A potion
Um,
which makes the
so it brings things.
drinker attract enemies,
Yeah.
translocating them quickly
So
closer for the duration of the effect. Okay.
So, like, let's just say you're in a situation where you're about to die and you're just chugging potions because you don't know what's going to save you. If you were to chug this potion, that would be awful, right? It
Right.
would just make your situation worse.
Right.
So generally as you're playing through it, especially in the early levels, like identifying things is really useful. So at least till you get to the place where you have um, curing and potentially like strength or some other kind of buffs that would help you with it. You can also see that it's purple, which lets you know that it's like it's probably not going to do you much good.
Okay.
So when you reach max inventory, that'd be something that you would just discard.
Okay.
As you're playing, your kind of characters in the center there, you have this map that is slowly kind of being revealed to you on the right side. It says Minotaur of Trog. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I'm trying to remember what the piety kind of button is, so we can like look at what Trog will do for us.
Oh, I got that.
Um,
Hold on. Let me just kill this rat. Ah. Oh, whoops. Let me kill this quokka. There we go. Boom. Get us
yeah,
another random scroll. Okay. Oh, should I? It doesn't auto pick that up. Okay. Let me just deal with these snakes, and then
it
I.
won't auto. Yeah, it won't auto pick up when you have enemies near you.
Okay. Um. As I'm doing this, I want to. I want to say, I.
Mhm.
Actually, here. So now we'll find the. What was bring up the. You wanted me to pray, or look at the religion stuff?
Or yeah, look at what spells we have from Trog right now, which will be like a berserk spell.
Okay.
It'll be might be one other one too that you've unlocked.
Okay, so show religion is this button. Is that what you
Yeah,
wanted me
yeah,
to do?
yeah,
Okay.
awesome. Yeah,
All right.
so Trog. So this tells you about Trog.
Okay.
If you go over to powers, um, yeah, so
Right. Powers.
um, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can I just say
So
these
what's
controls are so to to navigate this menu, I have to press either exclamation mark or accent circonflexe. Okay, those are the menu browsing buttons. Like those aren't even beside each other on the keyboard. Okay,
Is it? I gotta say, isn't that great?
it kind of is.
It's like the thing I love about this game is that you literally play it with your keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
You it's and also it's like it's the game that made me like want to have a numpad also
Oh yeah.
because like having numpad like also gives like a whole other level of control. Yes, exactly. Um, uh, there's another game that is way more feature rich. Well, not feature rich, just like um a different kind of vibe that I think is probably a lot more that could be potentially more appealing for people called Caves of Cud that
Okay.
is like far in the future post-apocalyptic RPG version of this kind of dungeon crawler fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh highly recommend, but has kind of similar thing where like your keyboard controls everything. And this is like going back to NetHack. Like this is like all the old Rogue games, Moria, Adam. They all like kind of function this way as just doing everything with the keyboard.
Well,
Um,
I was not aware of this game, and I haven't spent a lot of time in this genre, but I have been playing this month since the last time I talked to you a game that is this game, called Sheeran the
yeah.
Wanderer. Are you familiar with that series?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. Those games. Now that's like a slightly different dungeon crawler style. That's like I forgot like it came out of Dragon Quest or something where it was like on Famicom, and it's like a dungeon looter. I forgot the name for this genre. Like what you're talking about, Sharon the Wanderer, is like this specific style of dungeon crawler.
It's just,
Um,
it feels exactly like this from the sort of like
yeah,
turn-based combat expressed as moving through squares. Like if you don't move a square, time
hmm
doesn't pass. And
hmm
therefore like your wait button in the center of the numpad is important because it allows you to just stand still and let everybody else move. Right down to the scrolls of identification, which was like a concept that was new to me having not played this game that I learned playing Sheer the Wanderer. Oh, you get stuff, you don't know what it is until you have another item.
yeah, and that's like NetHack. Like
Mhm.
is the same way. Which so yeah, this style is called Mystery Dungeon,
Okay.
and there's so many of them. There's like Chocobo Mystery Dungeon, which is like Final Fantasy themed. There's
Mhm.
like Dragon Quest has like a whole series of them too. Um, yes, there is a lot of overlap though with these styles.
Mhm.
That's awesome. You're playing that though. I would love to see you play that.
Well,
Um,
yeah. I was really given a shot because I was just a developer that I follow, Sam Barlow was like raving about it. And whenever I see like a dev that I really admire, like loving a game, I tend to get it.
mhm. I think that Sharon the Wanderer is kind of often talked about as being the best of the mystery dungeon genre.
Yeah.
Um, and but yeah, there is a lot of overlap there. I feel like the strategy of it is kind of different because like you can't bring as many items with you. It's like the only one that I played a lot was the Chocobo dungeon
Mhm.
one, which was like when I remember renting it from the store when I was little, but I loved it then. Um, so okay, you got a flail of venom
Yeah, bro.
now.
Yeah,
So
bro.
uh, so could be great. If you click on J really quickly to kind of look at the flail of venom,
Mhm.
um, and it says like when you're using this, you're going to be leveling up maces as opposed to maces and flails as opposed
Okay.
to axes. So like one kind of idea, right, is that you're like I'm just going axe and
Mhm.
I'm going to keep power leveling up my axe, knowing that I'm going to find a really powerful axe down the line.
Mhm.
But if you were to come at like if this was like a +5 flail of venom or something,
Mhm.
totally would be a great time to just switch to that and just go with it. Um, and so I would say it's like while you could take it and use it, I would hold off for a little bit longer before we get it.
Okay.
Um, and so we got everything in there. We got a potion of attraction which we can drop. I haven't found any armor either yet.
Yeah.
So let's keep going.
All right.
And just use O now to kind
Yeah.
of you've explored a lot of the
Oh, look,
space.
here's some
Oh yeah,
armor.
great. Got some good armor. Let's get that. So get G on that, then inventory and equip that.
We like the scale mail, eh?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Base armor rating 6. All right, wear
Yeah,
that?
that's gonna help.
Oh, look
Yep.
at me, man. Look at
And
this.
so yeah, and so now it's like this character, the heavier the armor, the better. The heavier the
Okay.
shield, the better. Like, and if you get a double-handed axe, great, and then you won't use a shield. But if you don't, then you'll just use a shield and the biggest axe you can find.
Got it.
Okay, I think you've explored everything now.
Yeah.
Done exploring. So hit Shift X. Like, okay,
Ah.
now hit the less than less than.
Can I just like oh
And
the
so,
okay.
the less than goes up. So greater than, hit greater than.
It's
And so if you hit Shift then and greater than,
yeah.
that's going to like go between all the different uh, stairs in the game.
Okay.
So like, yeah, that's where you want to go. So head and return there, and then it's going to take you over those stairs down.
Okay.
And then use that greater than again
Yeah.
and to go downstairs.
Can
So
we
greater than
just
and up, then go
take
up and
one
down.
pause to acknowledge how absolutely insane it is that you can coach me on what keys? We just established this game uses at least 40 different keys on the keyboard, and it's insane that you can by memory tell me which one to press.
I think if you played it for a few hours, you'd have it. It's because
Okay.
there's really like you're going up and down floors all the time.
Okay.
Like so that's like really there are like but one of the really cool things about this that makes it really like what's the word for it? Like um quality of life features is you can search through every item you found and what floor it was on.
Right.
So it's like it's keeping track of everything, so you can
Mhm.
always get back to it if you need to.
Right.
The goal of this, right, is that there are like 23 different orbs that you can find, and your goal is to leave the dungeon, which was the exit to the dungeon was on that first floor,
Hmm.
with as many orbs as possible.
Okay.
Um, I am awful at this. I've never even gotten a one orb run. I've gotten the orb, but I died on the way out.
Really?
And yeah, but also I'm pretty impulsive when I play these
Yeah.
games. Like, so if I start losing health, like instead of being at half health and being like, okay, now's the time to start taking potions or teleport away, I just keep fighting, and it
Right.
usually doesn't work. A big thing just happened. You reach level 3. Now you get to pick a stat to double. So hit
Okay.
return again.
Ooh.
Increase
I'm a
strength,
strength guy, it
intelligence, or
feels like.
dexterity. Yeah, yeah.
Feels like I'm a
So
strength
got to
guy.
use shift
Oh. You
uppercase
can't
only,
can't can't
Mitch.
use
Come on,
lowercase
come
s.
on,
Gotta
come
use the
on.
uppercase S. Do not forget to press tilde and then ampersand after pressing S. Um, just amazing stuff. Oh,
Oh
Robin
God.
roars the
Okay.
battle
Yeah.
cry. What's that?
So
Oh, look at
so
all
you got
those
like a lot
dudes.
of enemies here. So if you the thing is now hit X, just like regular X, not shift X,
Oh, now I gotta
lowercase
put
X.
goblins going to battle frenzy. X. All right.
Okay. So now you can move your arrow keys over. Like if you move it over to
Yeah.
the person closest to you. Um.
Like the bad guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Now hit return. Does that tell you anything?
It says that
Um.
he's a goblin wielding a +0 club.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So bring it up to the one at the very top and hit V on him.
Robin? V.
Yeah.
Oh man, Robin of the Strong Arm, a mountain hobgoblin, recently come in search of the legendary orb. Oh, he's built a small army of minions. Oh boy.
And so it's like if you kill him, I think it makes the other ones easy. But these are so like not a big deal.
Okay.
But this actually is probably the time to talk about the battling mechanic of this.
Okay.
So come back out, hit escape, and then you'll have to hit escape one more time too. I think. Okay,
Okay.
so where you're at right now, they can swamp you.
Yeah.
Right? They can get all around you, and they're like taking 4 attacks on you where you can't even take one.
Right.
So the move to do right now is to get yourself to a hallway so you only have to take on one at a time. All
Right.
right.
And I see
So
that
my
hallway
thought would be
above
to
me.
go, yeah, like to go southeast
Oh,
and
southeast. Okay.
move in whatchamacallit, a diagonal
Yeah.
direction too, so that you're not come down. Well, let me look where you're on my screen.
Uh-oh. Okay. I think
Oh shit! I'm sorry. I thought that was a hallway. It wasn't. Try to get in that door. Yeah, get in that door if you can.
All right.
Okay, and then what I want you to do is we need to call on Trog right now to
Okay.
help us out.
Oh, it's
So,
it's it's telling me I can
um,
call upon Trog.
yeah, it's time.
How do I do
So,
that?
we're going to go.
P
Hold on one second.
for pray?
Let me get into a game really quick because I forgot the. I know it by like using the keyboard, but I'm not sure what it is. Hold on. Berserker, not wield. I A.
A.
Okay, so first thing we want to do is use Trog's hand to give us some healing.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
B.
So B.
Okay.
Okay.
And now am I gonna attack these dudes or
Uh, it says more, so I think there's like another thing
oh,
that's going to show up on the screen. Okay. Now hit A again, and then hit Berserk.
oh
There it
yeah.
is. Okay, so now you're in Berserk mode. You're doing double damage. You don't take as much damage, and as long as you are attacking, you will keep in Berserk mode.
Okay.
So get rid of that adder right now because that
Yeah.
poison. Okay.
Done.
Now if you just hit tab, keep hitting tab, and you'll just keep attacking.
Oh. Oh yeah.
You're destroying. You got this. You
Oh
got this.
yeah. No. These guys didn't know it hit him, man. They didn't realize I was
Okay.
gonna be. Oh, I'm
Oh,
too
okay.
injured to
Actually,
fight
so that's
recklessly.
I was going to say so you didn't have anyone in view to attack, and so you lost Berserk. Which now that you don't have Berserk, you can see over on the right hand side.
Yeah.
You have a negative Berserk, and you're slow, and you're
Oh.
poisoned. So
Oh.
you do a diagonal movement to right next to them, and just pray that you're able to kill them before they kill you. Yeah. Okay. I think you got this. Just
Low
don't
hit
miss.
point
Ooh!
warning.
Oh no! Oh no! You're not. I don't think you got
I
this.
died. I died.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Ah. Okay. Man, I
You
thought
can
I
see
was
that you did
really
have an up.
I thought I was really
Okay,
good at
okay,
pressing
tag me
tab.
in. Tag me in, you all. I've been playing in the background,
Okay.
picking up as much as I can. I tried to watch yours, and it just put me in my own server.
Okay. So let
Um,
me find you.
Are
Let's
you
watch
I'm
waiting
not
on?
dead
You
yet.
saying
now
so?
let's watch Billy and we'll chat. Billy, which user are you?
I need coaching. I need coaching because I haven't.
Okay.
I don't. Let me drop what's the URL that's in my thing
Yeah, you're probably on
because
the European server, so it's probably you're gonna have a different URL.
Are you Cormax
okay.
362 or
I tried to
Total
copy
Burglar?
your URL.
C
Where did
CBRO
the
Barat BEROTATO.org 8443.
Yeah. But
it's this one
which username are you?
here. So do you see me? I'm okay with me, I think.
Oh,
Okay
okay.
with me, the Ducker.
Oh yeah, I gotcha. All right, cool. I'm watching you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I know that. Oh, what am I doing now? Okay, so I can move like this. I just figured out tab is kill people. I got attacked by some sort of a like orc wizard that took forever and kept making me confused, and there's like a disembodied body near me all the time. Um, heard you say that I need to collect orbs and that you've never collected more than one orb, Travis. So I'm a little bit nervous about
Oh, I know.
expecting
I've
to check one.
collected like four different orbs at different places. I've just never gotten out of the dungeon with them. That's the issue
Okay.
for me. Because like when
Oh, I
you're
also
leaving,
understand
there's like
now.
things that spawn.
Is it a bad idea to fall down
Okay,
this escape hatch?
it's an escape hatch.
Just
I wouldn't right now.
okay. I'm just gonna
Um.
go down these stairs. Whoa, what's all this?
Look at those
Oh, you got some
boots.
boots. Get those boots. Get those boots.
Okay, so I'm just gonna hit tab until I kill this cockroach, and now I'm gonna pick up
What
these
kind of character
boots.
are you? What do you got?
I don't know. How do you tell?
It says you're a
Let me
troll.
see.
Oh, I'm a troll. Yeah.
Um, hit M really quick. Or actually, hold on. Escape and hit the at sign.
Shift two. You mean?
Oh, hold on. Question mark and then question mark again to see. I forgot the thing that like kind of tell it. Display character status. Character. Oh, percentage. You have the percentage sign, not the at sign.
Character overview.
Cool. You're a troll warper. What is that? I don't even know what this is. Okay, you're
Oh yeah, I'm a
large.
warper.
You can't wear armor, but you have three claws. I bet those are going to be helpful. Um, uh, you okay? Um, I guess you probably have spells then.
Tell me more
So
about that.
go back to hit the question mark again, and let's like look up how we do like look at spells. Question mark one more time. List of commands and uh, show your spell library, which is a capital M. Oh, okay, you got a lot. Okay, you got blink. Oh, so like this whole character's kind of play is like that you're warping around all the time. So when shit gets hairy, you can warp. Um, this is fun. Oh, you can teleport other things too. So every character, like, there's a lot of different play styles to this. Um, oh yeah, you are way squishier than Trog, the Minotaur of Trog. So um, it's,
We're just watching Billy
get
run
out of here.
away from
Get
an
out.
army of dog warriors, from an
The nice
army of
thing is that you
gnolls.
get your health back pretty quick.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Uh,
just keep running. Just run, Ducker.
oh no,
Oh no. Oh,
run,
oh.
Ducker! Oh
Can I teleport or something?
no, you died. Oh my
I
god,
died?
you had so many weapons. You had so many weapons.
I picked up so many things, but I have no idea how to use any of them.
No, I know. Um, okay. Let's try this again.
Okay. Or do you want to do you want to like um do you want to watch another run of like a high level character and like just talk us through like the like I want to hear why this game has occupied mind space with you for like for 3 years.
A long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Um, yeah, let's go to find someone who's doing like a new version, like 31.
Okay.
Find someone who's like around like a level 15 would probably be fun. Kind of
Okay.
like not late game, but just like mid game.
Here's a level
How many
22.
people are we playing? How many people are online right now playing in that
Oh
server?
my god. Okay,
That's real
they're
time?
in the where are they at? They're in the Elven Halls. So they've got a pretty powerful character right now.
Yeah, Klepto
Um
Bismal the
yeah, yeah.
Devastator is a level 22 deep elf of Vehumet.
They have a staff that is killer. Resists electricity, intelligence +6. They have a name staff, so like the staff they're using has uh powerful. They also have like it says Zap Wand of Flame, so you can also find wands that can hold spells. So even with like our our kind of um our berserker, we would use wands later in the game to kind of cast spells. Um, uh, the Elven Halls have lots of like magical weapons. It also has weapons that will fight you by themselves. Like they just like are you'll see weapons floating around that attack you, which they can sometimes be nice. Um, and
Lot of blood spattered across
it's
these elven halls.
you can look at the dungeon generation on the right.
Hmm.
Of like how it's very different
Oh
from the
yeah,
style that we were seeing
totally
in
different like
dungeons.
procedural geometry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
So wait, just
okay, they're
confirm these are all
looking at
procedurally generated levels?
uh-huh.
Okay.
There is a kind of basic structure to it though, where it's like dungeon levels 1 through 13. There's the orcish mines, there's the jungle. There's a chance on each of those early dungeon levels that some special bonus areas could appear. Like there's like a sewer that you can go into. There's but like what are some of the other there's like a sand pit that you can go into, like it's like a and they have different special monsters and special weapons you can find there. The thing about those special floors that aren't guaranteed is that you only have a certain amount of time to get to it before they disappear. And you'll know that because when you land on the floor, it'll be like you hear hissing and it sounds like from really far away, or you hear the sound of sand sliding away. Or you hear the sound of a drain rusting over. And so it's like then there's a little bit of a strategy of knowing, okay, I have maybe 100 turns to find this bonus area. Um, and get to that so that I can then get more experience and be more powerful. Um, yeah, there's all kinds of equipment and kind of synergies of equipment that you wear. You the having resistance against different elements like poison. Like if you have a high poison resistance, you can take on the whole subsection that's like about the spider nests. And so it's like the thing is it's like the elements of an RPG that we all know
Mm-hmm.
in the aesthetic that is probably the most popular, like a high fantasy Dungeons and Dragons style,
Mm-hmm.
and the with rules that have been refined over 20 years. And realistically, actually, that's like 2006 when this version of Crawl came out. But realistically, it's more like 86. Like we're looking at like close to 40 years of development since Rogue, and kind of the polish of that as a type of gameplay um, uh, in a very portable form. Like I love that this is browser based. That I have a friend Nina who like plays this at work all the time
Mm-hmm.
for like she's like it's been her game like when she's like got free time at work
Mm-hmm.
to play. It's like you can play it anywhere on pretty much anything. You don't need a gaming mouse. You just need a
Mm-hmm.
keyboard. Um, and I love the auto explore feature too. Like that it's there's a lot of it that can play by itself if you want it to. And you can kind of pick when you come in. Um, like all the kind of strategy around when do I read the scrolls? When do I chug this element? Do I change over to this +2 mace with poison, even though I've been putting my points into axe? Um, uh, do I forsake my god and take this other god because I found this other weapon that's really going to help? Looks like they stopped playing.
Yeah, it's okay. We're gonna jump.
And
Um,
elements that stand out to me is the time doesn't proceed unless you make a move.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that as a
mhm,
general mechanic, something that's sort of like fast pace and long term, and almost like chess, where you can really decide your moves, but also all of a sudden you're moving really fast is interesting. And I guess the simplicity of the whole thing that it makes it instantly streamable to live audience or something like that. That I was thinking about this the other day, where I wasn't sure if or why, if they're not doing it, why they're not. Games don't have like Twitch capabilities built into them from the get go. The fact that you
yeah.
use a third
Mm-hmm.
party streaming service to stream your game. I mean, obviously there's like nice things about everybody coming together on Twitch with different games, but I just feel like that was probably a lost opportunity for so many game developers or game networks, that they didn't just like have start streaming your gameplay from the 100% fidelity of the actual game strokes themselves, rather than like having to be transcoded through a video encoder and then like a lag, et cetera, et cetera. And this is exactly that. So
Well,
it's amazing timing for that topic.
aren't they trying to do that on the console level right now? Like, I've never used this feature, and it's so funny you're saying this, Billy, because I was just thinking about this last night, right? But like PlayStation 5, when you press the share button, like it has like the option just like capture video right now. And I thought they were trying to integrate like Twitch and streaming straight into like the PlayStation 5. Like I thought this was actually a big area of focus for this generation of consoles, right? Was making the game more social and acknowledging, how important those platforms are for adoption. But I haven't looked into it too much, and I'm really, geez, as an aspiring video game streamer, I really should know more about that.
Even those features, it feels like they're still enabling video streaming. And what I'm
Mhm.
talking about is like deterministic gameplay, where you recreate the game based on the strokes of the player and the like the
Oh,
engine itself. where it's
Yeah,
like you don't have to record a screen and send those bytes. You're just like, oh, like he hit this key. Let's re-simulate the whole environment locally so you have the highest fidelity possible.
Yeah,
right. You're talking about, and so it's so funny. Like you're talking
that's
about
what this
again
is. Yeah,
the Super Mario tablature thing. Or like
Exactly.
yeah, or the the Corey Archangel like a TiVo for video games, right? And yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
absolutely okay. Yes, I understand the distinction. Yeah, it's not a video capture. It's literally reproducing the software environment just in your
you got the
browser.
inputs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was I was talking to someone about like the type of games that they like, and they phrased it in this way that I really liked, where they're like, I like to play games that I can literally fall asleep while I'm playing and not have
Mhm.
to worry, right? That like you make the move and it's basically waiting on you to make the next move the whole time,
Mhm.
right? And so that's it's totally the style because you can always stop and think. I think of like Into the Breach as kind of like another example of this, right? Where it's just like you can kind of take your time, right? That's like there's no rush. I know that like the downside of that is that like you can overanalyze and like not actually make the move. You're like, well, if I could do this, like it can lead to this kind of things. Um, I have a feeling that that's why I've never been great at this is because I refuse to like slow down. I just kind of power through auto exploring and auto fighting as far as I can. Um, but it's yeah, because like playing this like the ones like the runs where I've had like maybe 3 or 4 orbs and like getting close to like getting out. The time on that usually ends up being like 2 or 3 hours, like the time on that run, right? And so it's it can be different. I made a character on that server too.
Oh yeah. Oh, there we go. Here you are.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna, you know
What
what? I'm
That
actually gonna turn
and
you off because I don't want. Okay, all right. Well, yeah, we'll let you if you're just cruising and auto exploring, as well.
yeah.
Then yeah, go for it. So you get through the first few levels here. Um, and so, but can you?
Can I
Well,
ask you a quick question about the
yeah.
last thing you mentioned though? Just the temporal cadence that you were saying, the friend that likes to fall asleep during the games, and I mentioned it already that there's something really interesting in that tension here happening. I wonder, have either of you played Dota Chess, which was a game described to me, which I feel like would be really relevant to that topic, right? Where it's just a game Dota slowed down to like every single move is as if you're making a chess move, and they become sort of as
Oh yeah.
impactful as a chess move, and like a highly densely packed game of Dota that's like incrementally one move at a time. Is this relevant for y'all?
Oh, I've
Have you heard of
heard
this?
about
I
this, but maybe from you
This
guys.
is different from battle chess, right? This is different from battle chess, right?
I think it's called Dota Auto Chess. GVN from Moving
Auto
Pixels told
chess.
me about it.
I think that's a pretty active game. Like maybe like
Okay,
or maybe
maybe
it's
he
like
did a
you're
weird job
setting everything
describing it to
up.
me.
Maybe you
No,
set everything up and then you watch it play out.
I've heard about
I don't
this. I have a
know. I mean,
note about it in my notebook, and I'll bet you. And by the way, Matto, we miss you, buddy, because Matto would know
yeah,
a
he's
ton about this
Yeah.
as
game
a guy who's
authority.
put 1,000+ hours into Dota. Um, um, but yeah, I love it. I find that games where you can stop like that, and I love them too, right? Not because I can fall asleep to them, but because I can stress myself out infinitely to them. Like ultimately, like in an action game, like with in Elden Ring, the stress ends. The stress ends when I die. Like there's a maximum amount of time that I can be stressed out and indecisive and fret over my options, and that amount of time is usually a fraction of a second, right? But in XCOM, I can doubt myself and second guess myself forever, right? Which is also the same as like a nonogram, for example, right? Like there's an unlimited amount of time in which I can overthink this.
Or a Wordle. I
Yeah.
feel like that's my Wordle play. It's just staring at the screen for like 30 minutes. Back in. What's this like yellow tail thing? That's your auto explore?
What's
Yeah, it's
up?
showing where he traveled to after hitting the auto
Oh yeah.
explore button so that it doesn't just drop you in another part of the map. You can tell kind of which path you went. Um, can you tell me a little bit more, Travis? Like you mentioned that okay, this is like 40 years of development, right? But obviously this hasn't
Yeah.
all been done by a solo developer. We haven't I looked it
Hmm.
up, right? I made the title of this stream Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup by DCSS. I don't know who DCSS developers is or are. Like, can you tell me how this game and like this genre evolved? Because I really don't know much about this genre at all.
Yeah, I mean, I can't go too far into the history because I don't know it that well, but
Mhm.
um, I think the thing like so like Rogue is the game where this started. NetHack is kind of the big early version of this. Like NetHack is still in development,
Mhm.
and it is from the late '80s. I think is like when NetHack first started. I might be wrong on that. It might have been early '90s. But it's in many ways like this is a lot closer to NetHack than it is to Rogue in
Mhm.
terms of everything that's going on. And it's uh, in both cases, I think that it's development teams that change over time.
Mhm.
I know that, for instance, at one of the recent game developer conferences, or maybe it was at the Roguelike conference, they had some of the early NetHack developers give a talk about the project and like working on that code. And so over time, it's like the code kind of changes. And then also, not only that, in most of these games, they're because they're open source, there are all of these modded versions, or
Right.
people just make their own rule set for it, or add all these other things to it.
Mhm.
And so you'll see a lot of that along with so in terms of like the developer, it's I think it's more of a group thing. For some reason, I remember hearing early on, and maybe this is wrong, that like there were people that were uh, um, like that were working on World of Warcraft who also were working on this as well.
Mhm.
Like that there was like a lot of people in the industry have had their hands on this, and like on the games industry have had their hands on this at different times. Um, and yeah, it's I think for me though is it's kind of like Minecraft. It's evergreen. Like
Yeah.
I I always find it a fun thing to kind of come back to.
Mhm.
Um, if you click on my character, I have like a boss right next to me right
Oh,
now, which is
nice.
like an early game boss that can show up.
Sweet.
And so if we look at this person really quick, XV, um, you could see that like uh, the nice thing about them is they usually have a pretty powerful weapon.
Mhm.
And so my strategy for fighting them, they have a staff right now. So and there's usually like a hammer in there. Yeah, there's a hammer up in the corner. So my strategy for fighting them, they can't get through this door. Like only I
Yeah.
can unlock this door. So because I have Trog, I I always I just berserk
Mhm.
and then go for it. So I'm gonna
Okay.
berserk, boom, 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 and they're
Wow.
gone. Yeah. So and then I got it's a plus two quarterstaff of chaos, which so that does chaos damage, which can be any kind of damage,
Mhm.
which is a lot of fun. So knowing that I'm not going to take this run far, I'm actually just going to switch to this weapon because it's a
Okay.
lot of fun. And I'm going to take the cloak and wear that too. Let's get that cloak on. Let's get that staff to wield it.
BRB 1 minute.
And then we got yeah, sure. And then I'm also going to switch over to maces and we A's B, B. Okay. Um and let's go. Got- I probably have a good amount of scrolls right now too. I have two brand weapons. So if I wanted to add some more I don't actually think that the branding weapon would do anything on that, but I have so the kind of there's a good chance that the scroll that I have four of right now is an identify scroll. So I'm going to go ahead and take that chance and read it. And it was an identify scroll. So then usually what I do is I go through my potions. Got one of might, F, read, G, F, read, I, F, F, read, J. Brilliance. I'm not going to need that one. I'm not going to need potion of brilliance either. Drop those and then keep on exploring. Uh, so when I attack things with the chaos staff, you'll see that they get all kinds of different uh, things attached to them. What are X? A ribbon worm nearly wounded. Um, gonna keep going.
Can I ask
Maybe
a
maybe the
question?
question I have for you all is like, after seeing this now, do you see how this could be something that has kind of continuously I come back to?
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to ask. Is I want to know like
Yeah.
I love the idea that 40 years of like honing down on a game loop to find like exactly, but I don't see where that balance is between this is difficult and this is satisfying because it's easy and it's playing back and forth like or what is the like novelty of the arrangements that are so hard to reproduce in other games like it still feels somewhere between random and too advanced for me. Where like when I was playing, like I played longer and did better than Mitch without knowing how to play. Like I was just hitting tab over and over again and running away. Um,
Well,
so it's
'cause
like
I
obviously
I
that was
actually think
a
that Mitch
version
got
of
further
chaos.
than you in terms of score from it.
Take it
Like
back.
it's
Take it back, Greg.
yeah, because I would say that like there is there's such a range of ways of playing this. So you went with like a teleporting spellcaster, which has a whole different style of how you play it. Like there's like a different grain and aesthetic to how you explore with that, where it is a lot more kiting. Like you are going to be like kind of you'll get a group of enemies and then you'll go back for the early levels. But the benefit of that is whereas like a Minotaur of Trog, I can kind of just go head first into everything and kill it. You in later levels, by like the time you're at level 15, you're casting spells and having things going on that are going to mean that you have no issues at all with progressing. So that while Minotaur of Trog is, oh, I found Terrence.
Who's
Let me,
Terrence?
who is
this guy,
Terrence?
Terrence
Oh,
the
Terrence the
Incautious.
violent murderer.
He's me. He's me. He's the Incautious. Um, uh, yeah. So we can take him, no problem.
Forced into hiding after a botched job.
I had like
Is that an
I
orb?
applied like double poison to him right away because I had that chaos staff.
What is
Yeah.
Trog
There are these.
accepts your kill?
So I'm building up piety every time, um,
Oh, and
and
if
so you
you
can see
worshipped a
that I
different
have like
god,
this
okay,
piety cost. Yeah,
okay.
and so they're like, and so I think the thing is that the reason I like it is that no run is the same. There are so many ways to approach playing it, and so many different things that you could potentially focus on as you're playing. Um, in terms of understanding the mechanics, it has this kind of range of between very actively playing and min maxing and kind of like let me come in here, let me check my levels, like making sure I don't want to put anything into dodging right now, so I'm going to turn that off and make sure that like fighting is up high, like that it, you can choose the level of amount you want to focus on it too when you're playing it, and you do see return on that.
So
And
when
that's
you
I mean
play
I think also
this,
if I was a better player, I would that would all come naturally, and I'd probably make the same decisions more often than I do now.
how much are you doing role playing and like
Uh
sort of
oh,
storytelling, and how much are you
this might be it.
um and how much are you just enjoying
Yeah, use egged instead of zagged.
managing a system?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no role playing in it.
Okay.
It's just managing a
Yeah,
system.
you're just in the system, working
Yeah,
the system and
seeing
watching a sort
seeing
of
what
different
happens,
system
seeing what
emerge every time.
surprises me. Yeah,
I feel
seeing
like you
like
could
how
play
the
this whole
levels
game in a
generate.
spreadsheet. Like, why even have the
Yeah.
visual representation? I feel like this could come through as a data feed or something like that. Maybe it's
Well,
perfect for machine learning or something.
you can play this in your terminal as ASCII characters too. We're playing this with a tile set right now, but that actually is like there's a version of it that doesn't use this tile set and
Oh
it's
wow,
just ASCII characters.
wow.
So, which
How
gets a
is
little
the
bit
AI
closer to
community
it.
attached to this game?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. These are kind of like challenge spaces
Hmm.
that um, I'm gonna just do it. It'll be impulsive and try it
Hmm.
out. I might not make it, but
Yeah,
let's go.
good old Travis the impulsive. Um,
Yeah. Oh, I can. Uh a null with ring mail with strength 3. That would be huge for me. Okay. Well,
um,
let's hope we get this. Okay.
my biggest questions about this game are about the development and how it works as open source software. So is it the case that there is just like, a repo and there are a bunch of branches and people can push different commits and eventually the community just kind of decides which ones they like to do? Like we saw in the server lobby, people playing different versions, people playing version 31, people playing it would say like, Git or
That's
whatever.
it.
Like does the game just evolve in this very organic community driven way?
Um, there are like so people make branches all the time, and I
Hmm.
know that sometimes those branches of the code do come back and be part of it.
Hmm.
Like Trunk, I think is the version that's kind of in development. It's like the beta at the time. And I think it all depends on how big that development group is at the moment. There
Hmm.
is like people just kind of like with NetHack as well. Like there are people that kind of oversee the project, and I don't know if it's the kind of thing that modders are brought in, or like if someone's kind of a contributor to the community for a while. That's those are the people that are brought in or not.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Because just with regards to composability, like okay, because yeah, what I see is composability, which I wanted to ask like you about, Billy. Like, do you see that in this game, and is there a way that this is a template for, I'm bringing it back to blockchain gaming. Is there a way that this is a template for what blockchain gaming promises, right? Like the code is out there, people can modify it, people can change it. When you say, "Oh, this is just a tile set," presumably it's easy to swap in or out that tile set with different assets. If the core of the
yeah.
game is just running off of ASCII stuff, like is this a model of how that is supposed to work?
I mean, yeah, this seems like actually, I feel like I have seen projects described like this in the blockchain space, just because the whole format lends itself so perfectly for like the limitation on the computation and the term-based style that you'd be able to do. Um, I mean, I guess that's why I was also asking about like what is the AI community doing here? Like you said, there's a bunch of mods and things like that, but I would love to see those. You know what I mean? Like what does because I don't think you really need a blockchain to have composability. You just need like
Hmm.
a relatively stable API or relatively accessible code base and like just agreement to use the same systems. And like if that's what we've got here, like what are the results? You know, like how far does that composability go, and what sort of cool, weird, unexpected things. I mean, I guess there's also this. How much does this feel like it came from an individual company or person? Because I know you said before that it was sort of like a team, but maybe also like a passion project from people who are working on what was it, Netstat, or like an extension of that. You know, it almost feels like it's more. There's not like a singular author and any sort of idea that like they made it and other people did things, but it was other people doing things from the very beginning.
Yeah, well, like because I think early on, all of these different like one of the early versions of NetHack was Moria, which was like Lord of the Rings version of NetHack, right? Where and so it's like basically different flavors. ADOM, ADOM, I don't know what that stands for, has way more storytelling in it. Like it's way more kind of the role playing aspect of it. Um, and also, it's like maybe it's Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup is a little bit more aligned with the kind of Diablo um, Dungeons and Dragons kind of like your of how stats and everything are working, and kind of finding loot and finding better and better loot. Well, this person is surrounded. Oh my god. Oh, and they have 16 health. This is not going to go well. this is not.
But this is
This
also,
is
I
not
mean,
going to.
this is really great context to understand Dwarf Fortress, right? Because
Hmm.
that's another game that I've never really understood. But with the context of coming from this world, Dwarf Fortress is like, oh, the weird
Yeah,
extreme, like, let's just push the visuals to complete abstraction and still sort of like try to pretend there's relevant narrative here.
but this
Is
is like
that
this is also an
how?
ASCII too. Like this could look like how the early version of so like Dwarf Fortress re-released with the tile set a couple years ago. A month or two ago, they released Adventure Mode, which is basically this what we're doing right now.
Hmm.
But you do it in the world that you generated with the fortresses that you built. So you can be like a character and actually go find your fortress that you built in that world, where you'll just see everyone interacting with it. So like Door Fortress, I think of as when you take this and you put the procedural generation as hard as you can. Everything is simulated like to the point of like um cat breeds and what their preferences are in food, right? It's like all like it's taking that to like a very far swing at it. And that's actually why it's like Dwarf Fortress led me to all of these games. It
Hmm.
was like I got into Dwarf Fortress because of Minecraft and procedural generation and the kind of whole world, like the world generation of it. And I think that gave me more of an appreciation for the style that I ever had before. And so this feels like more kind of crunchy in terms of game mechanics than Dwarf Fortress does,
Hmm.
where Dwarf Fortress feels way more sandboxy.
Hmm.
Um, uh,
Can you
it's a nice
elaborate on
word
that
to
a bit more?
use.
What you mean by crunchy and sandboxy there?
This you're constantly like you're kind of talking about your spreadsheet, right? You're constantly looking at numbers and stats and gauging. Do I do I quaff this potion that I don't know what it is now, so that if I run into something on a future four, I'll have this
And that's
potion to use
crunchy,
and maybe it'll help me. Yeah, like or but like
number
stats,
crunchy.
like I'm yeah number crunchy
Gotcha.
uh like building min maxing, like do I want to put my stats in this and that, which you can do in Dwarf Fortress, but it's not really that's never felt like the way of playing it for me. um
And then
and
sandboxy, what
I
does
think
that
the
mean?
thing sandboxy as in the goal is much more self-directed. Like Dungeon Crawl Stun Soup, you are getting orbs, and there's like a kind of a set order to finding and exploring caves to get these orbs and build up your character as best as possible. There's like a way you do stats depending on what your character type is, um, and uh, and this also hits the roguelike way better in terms of every run is unique, every run feels different. Um, what's interesting though is like I probably have like 15 to 30 Minecraft worlds that I spent some amount of time on. And I still remember most of the geography of those worlds, like, which is wild. But like knowing where I was in spawn and where I was, or like what my town was like, or whatever I designed, where I can't remember what a dungeon crawl run is one run later. A lot of that has to do with like auto explore and everything, but it's just like it's way more about the game mechanics of it than kind of envisioning or making some kind of creative space. Like I don't think about Dungeon Crawl Stun Soup in my kind of like research into creativity and gameplay at all. Like it doesn't come up for
Hmm.
me here. Like this is like the gamiest game for me.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And I get it when I hear like
Is
crunchiness versus sandboxy, like the way that I interpret that is about quantifiable goals versus undefined goals, right? Like
Yeah,
in
for sure.
quantifiable
Yeah.
goals, right, lead you to play in a way like lead you to constantly like quantify and assess your gameplay, right? Every gameplay move is measured in terms of how much closer it takes you to that very like specific goal, right? Whereas like a sandboxy game is, yeah, do what you want, I guess like Travis said, self directed.
I would also say too, I find this tile set awesome, like aesthetically. Like I really like how it looks.
Hmm.
I
I
like
can
how
see
the
that
UI
whenever
looks in
we
this
see your
game.
art, we can see how it's a
Yeah,
really good
exactly.
match for you.
Like the
yeah, the
Actually,
project I'm
magenta
working on,
cayenne warp now makes all the sense. The stairways
the
going up
the
and down.
the project I'm working on right now is
yeah.
heavily inspired by the aesthetics of DCSS.
Yeah, I saw that
Makes
So
way
really
more
early.
sense
I
now.
didn't say anything about it. But yeah, this like looks a lot
yeah,
like the art project that you previewed for me and I guess for Billy too.
yeah.
Um,
The thing you were talking about a minute ago that brought up other topics was the procedural generated thing. Actually, on the crunchy side, where you're not crunchy, maximizing your actual gameplay thing, it refutes this idea of a speed run because you don't have the same problem set that everybody else is going against. And I'd be curious to open up the topic of like seeing other people play, reading maybe forums and hearing about other people play, the sort of like validation of play or the challenge of understanding what other challenges other people are sort of attacking and trying to achieve, and that sort of like how it's guided for you at this game and how it has maybe been less of a, I mean, if it counters that gamey side of it, because I would imagine you need everybody to be playing the exact same level to feel some sense of collaborative competition between players or something like that, and
Mhm.
how having procedurally generated games removes that while still remaining gamey.
Seeds like in Minecraft and like there's the unseeded category, right, where you just randomly generate a world and it's like who beat the end dragon in Minecraft as quick as possible. But then there are also seeded runs where everyone's doing the exact same procedurally generated world.
So you
And
just share
here
the
it's just
seed.
yeah, and so what's interesting here though is like if you look on their screen in the top right, you see that there's a time.
Hmm.
So every movement, they're in the inventory now, but when they get out of the inventory, it says swamp two, and under it, it's like 30,405 is the time that they have right now. So like, yeah, if you like were to show people like, yeah, I got a one orb run, and it took you like 400,000 or 500,000 time wise to get it, everyone would be like, yeah, come back when you've done it in like
Hmm.
150,000 or 100,000 turns, right? Or like going lower and lower until look at that sword, plus 11 plutonium sword, contamination minus stealth. Whew. Yeah.
So
It
that's
doesn't
again on the procedurally generated one, not this. I mean, to just clarify about the seeds, you can share the seed for the game and play the same level as somebody.
exactly, yeah, it'd be the exact same generation, everything.
Yeah, and
And
that's the
I
Are
I
thing.
there
don't
like
know.
notorious seeds, legendary
I'm not
seeds out
sure.
there?
I'm not, and that gets into like part I don't know in terms of like what the um like if enemy movement is seeded as well, like in terms of randomness of enemy chance of enemies moving. Like I don't know if that's I can't imagine that would also be seeded, but
Why not? That seems like it would be.
um yeah, I guess, right? Like, but I'm just thinking about all the movements that a person would make that might change that, or the time that you come on the floor or something.
But
I
presumably,
don't
if you
know.
put in all the same inputs, like I understand there's an enemy AI
Yes,
where some would move towards you and some would run away from you. But presumably, if you put in all the same inputs, I mean, like the point of a random
that's my
seed
guess
and a
too.
reproducible random seed is that you can have the exact same run, is so long as you follow the gameplay tablature.
Yeah, I would
Um,
guess that too.
and
I love
which
the phrase gameplay tablature.
yeah,
It's so
yeah, yeah.
good.
Well, it's just the easiest way for me to remember that concept, which we keep coming back to, a whole bunch of times, or at least
Do
I
want to
I
see
think about it a
speed
lot.
runs released in tabulature books more often. This has been
It's
a
just
new private goal.
uh
Shelves and shelves of them in like the same ASCII or
yeah.
the same Arial font, just like Black Led
Just
Zeppelin.
the legendary 20 million point Tony Hawk run of 2007.
Mhm, mhm.
um
I have to say I have been thinking about. I think I brought this up in one of our early streams about that those books, White Warlord and Black Baron, the
mhm,
like the readable dungeon crawler.
mhm.
I have been thinking about like what are text based versions of these types of mapping experiences of exploring a map. Um, I think this kind of gets into like my interest in maze as well, but uh, thinking about having procedurally generated or chance based experiences in book form or in image form, in a form that isn't like that's like they could be printed out. Um, like
Procedurally
I think that
generated chance based. I don't even know
books.
where to.
so like and so this isn't like a choose your own adventure. Like I think that would have to be part of it because that's like part of like the Black Baron, White Warlord books, right?
Mhm.
But it's like yeah, this has like been the puzzle that I've been thinking about for down the line right now as I work on my current project. It's like,
Explain the
is there
problem
a
that you're
way?
solving again. The idea that you want a book that has procedurally generated images.
No, a book that you never read the same way that was about exploring a map. So like an atlas, right?
Mhm.
Maybe.
Huh?
But I'm wondering if there's like a
Or
way
like,
that you could make an atlas that's procedurally generated but in printed form. I'm not
I
sure.
mean, didn't
Like
we
this
talk
is like
about
there is
the
no answer to this. This is just me like
But
thinking about the mechanics of this game that I like a lot and being like, how do I how do we how do I turn this into a book?
The story of the mountain and seas that we talked about on one of the first episodes, right?
Yes.
That
Yes. Yeah.
actually recommended to me. I mean, is that not it
Yeah.
already? You
It
could
is.
auto-generate
It
that book
is.
easily.
It's that's but you read that the same every time.
Not if you regenerated the book a million times. What I
Yeah.
still can understand the
Yeah.
mechanic of the regeneration that you're talking about. Like the book
Because
itself
that
regenerates.
but I want the book to be a static thing. It's a static seed, but your journey through the book would be different every time.
Huh. It'd be
And I'm
annoying
thinking of
as
it
hell because
actually
you'd
in
have to
terms of
like
like
break up every
images,
sentence.
not even language. Like I've been thinking about it in terms of, but I actually love it in terms of language too. Man, that sounds great. And it is then like Story of Mountains and Seas is like a really good comparison. I don't know if this makes good content to watch right now. Me working through like my studio questions,
No,
but I
that's the best stuff, the
Best
most
part of the
useful stuff
content.
to do here. Yeah, best
and it's
content for
like so
me.
because it's yeah, and I mean it's I think that's the thing is that um like when Sarah invited me to be part of the Minecraft residency, it was this really big one of one of like what does it mean to like try to make art in Minecraft like using this game engine like and I had this like kind of clear idea because I had seen mods that were doing things that were different but like kind of I was like, oh, I know how I could do this. Like I knew exactly what I wanted to do. But it's I think this the thing I'm talking about more is that like that often these game experiences or maybe parts of the design become really important to us as creators for what they might what other kind of potentials there are with that structure or process, not in the same materiality, not
Mhm.
even that it's digital, but that there's just something that might be useful there. And I think that's one of the reasons that I love those Susan Treaster pieces so much is because it's like using the language of game UI from the late 80s to
Mhm.
make digital paintings that are then photographed. Like the final thing is just this photograph. And it's like um that I like the way that um content media in any way like inspires us. Like I find that like procedurally generated things specifically like it opens up a lot of possibilities. Um and I don't know, like do you has the seeded thing come up for you all at all, like in terms of thinking about procedurally generated and the use of seeds?
I mean, so to me, my answer to that question is so boring and cliche, right? Which is that it's something that I thought about a lot when art blocks came out because
Yeah, exactly.
it foregrounded that idea to me of repeatable randomness, of deterministic randomness in an artistic experience. I still think like I will die on the hill that like art blocks is a like important like artistic moment and deserves like a lot of credit outside of the sort of like grail discourse for kind of mainstreaming that idea. And it's something that I chewed on a lot then, and it's like only now that I'm, because I didn't have a lot of experience with this genre of games, right, with games that used like shared random seeds to do that I'm bringing it back here to that. But then like I'm also seeing there the challenges of like bringing that concept, because right now like you see a lot of those generative artists who were doing great stuff in the field of visual art with deterministic randomness. And you see them trying to branch out into other media and seeing how it works now with oh yeah, generative clothing, generative tattoos, like whatever. And there's something like we're seeing it's really hard to bring that concept outside of the digital realm, which is by its nature it's very welcoming to ephemeralness and constantly changing, right? It's really difficult to bring that spirit into a static medium, which is probably one of the reasons why the question is so interesting and why it's fun to start to think about what a seeded random book like of infinite possible interpretive permutations would be like. But like, holy heck, is it a tough nut to crack?
I mean, my first question when you talked about that before was like, are there any like grail seeds? And I think I was just trying to reverse engineer like what is my relationship to the seed question bit? And I would take it back to like all of the blockchain things are obviously like about determinism. You know, that was a really important concept at the beginning. You need to be able to like play the same events back and get to the same outcome. And like where my mind first went with all of those concepts was with Clover's network. And that was, you know, you could say a generative art algorithm, even though that algorithm was the rules of a board game. But it kind of inverted that process. Instead of saying, you know, pick a random number and get the outcome, it was like, try as many random inputs as you can and then look at the outcome. So it's sort of like grail searching. You know, it's the proof of work algorithm where you're looking for a very specific final outcome from this generative art sort of mechanism. And I'd be curious, like, I think we've seen a bit of a shift in the kind of art blocks protocol where you no longer, many projects stopped allowing you to sort of mint randomly at the get-go, but they would sort of seed them. Or I mean, even Travis, didn't we do this with yours? You know, I guess yours
Mhm.
coordinates was quite different in this way, but I feel like it was the smileys. Smileys worked this way, where you know it was not about the like the lightning strikes in the moment that you meant it, that you know you're participating with the algorithm. It's that you as a sort of artist, your duty is to search through all of the possible seeds and then apply them to the algorithm so that something interesting comes out at the end. You know,
Yeah.
you were already doing the random searching
Mhm.
beforehand, and it sort of, where does that work take place, whose responsibility is it, and what are the actual sort of outcomes that are implicated from taking that first step, as you know, seriously, or as a responsibility that you would actually throw away many seeds in that process, is a very different approach to the same sort of pipeline.
Yeah, and I think that's why I was thinking, because it's this idea of the seed part of it has never interested me. Like, it's like I think about procedural generation in this kind of way as an ends to getting images that I like, to getting things that I like, not that that's the project itself.
Mhm.
Like, it's like part of the process that helps me get to something really cool that might otherwise I'd have to repeat myself thousands of times to get to, you know? And um I don't know. I think I've always found it like really inspiring. Like when some, like, I feel like there's been some projects that really do a great job of the kind of, every output is sick. Like every output is kind of hitting it. But yeah, like I think that that idea that there are good ones and bad ones, or the Grail idea of it is, uh, I don't know. I've never wanted to engage in that because it's uh yeah
You do engage. You pick the grails yourself. You say that
Yeah.
you're in
Yeah,
charge
no,
of what the grails
I
are.
like, no, I know. I mean, like there are people that play, when they play Minecraft, they just keep loading up worlds until they get the seed that they're like, ah, yes, I got the
Mhm.
mountains, I got the beach, I got the desert, I got it all, like right here, right? I get everything, and I like to just play in the world. Like,
Mhm.
okay, this is the situation I got. I want to go
Mhm.
with it. And so I think about like using computation to make art. Like it's about, okay, let me write the shitty code and see what it does. Oh, it made that. Oh, I like that it did this.
Mhm.
Okay, let's take that and then not take that. Let's refine this and not refine that. And so it's always like about, it's the call and response. Like it's about seeing what it gives me so that I can then make something that's a little bit better.
Mhm.
And what that means though is that nothing ever feels finished. Like everything always feels like I'm using procedural generation to help further articulate something that will never be completely articulated. And
Right.
I think that's also why, like, they're like some of my favorite artists are like painters like Terry Winters, who, like, I feel like he's spent his whole life kind of in pursuit of this type of like painting or this type of image making, where it's like processes that kind of continuously refine, and you're just kind of getting to see them at these steps along that journey. Um, uh,
Something to do with like
so
the patience of the viewer, though, or like asking somebody to be along with you, or like to not close their thought because your work isn't done yet. You know, it's sort of like an open process that I feel like is daunting as a creator, where you're like, oh,
yeah,
I would actually rather give you a well packaged thing and be like, here, like now you can consume the whole thing at once and decide whether you like it or not, or you know, be part of it. Whereas like I could do that, and then I also have to ask you to keep your mind open because I'm not done yet, and actually, you know,
yeah.
keep loading information and like, no, don't go away yet, I'm not done. Like, and I think that's a really scary thing to ask, but I've always respected your work a lot for it
Mhm.
because I feel like it still continues to like deliver that value at the that open-ended aspect of it.
Oh, thanks, thank you. And it's like I think that uh like the games as service model, right?
Mhm.
Isn't that what games as service is too? Like you're just like they want you to stay around. They want you. We're gonna keep changing
True.
it. We got
Yeah.
more updates coming. We got more DLC. We got
Apparently
like
it
Yeah.
works.
this is the new
Yeah.
patch. This is the new patch. It's
Yeah, maybe it's
coming.
not such a daunting ask of like viewers and spectators after all, considering how well it works.
Like we're
But the
a
one that's sort of
monograph.
like this is the seed and this is the outcome. It's sort
Mhm.
of like it's a performance that has a beginning and an end versus like
Yeah,
an ongoing
But that's
feature
the
length.
difference between the seed as producing an outcome versus the seed as producing a Minecraft map, right? Which is like you prefer to exist in whichever map the Minecraft seed spits out because ultimately you are going to respond to those conditions, you're going to respond to the constraints of that map or whatever. But when what's being spit out is just a final product, I think that your relationship to like the seed and the output and the algorithm itself changes, right? And they're going to be very
yeah.
different. Um, yeah, very different ways of thinking about a seed.
Interesting.
Is
I
is
feel like maybe my to contradict myself saying that I love so much of your work, Travis. Like I still think of like I put myself in the shoes of like an art viewer that I want to make artwork for. What artwork would I want someone to make for me? It's like, oh, I want them to be able to hand me this shiny object that's like well contained and I can take it and I can go away with it. Like that idea,
yeah, yeah,
that moment, that thing. And maybe that's like a bit of a like minimalist respect, a still like a persisting respect for minimalism or something like
Mhm.
that. That like the world is contained inside this mustard seed of an artwork or something like that, and that there's something really powerful. But I guess there's maximalism, there's minimalism, and you've always taken the maximalist road, which
Mhm.
I think there's very much room for in this universe.
I would
yeah.
also
Like, or how does
was
like a
keep going.
go for it? No, you go.
Nah, I was just cracking a joke. Keep going.
I was thinking of like so like this kind of way of working where you generate a lot either through a script or like some kind of series of processes that you're doing by hand to kind of make a whole thing. Like I think early on, like there is this question of like when are things done? Like or what is the finished version or what is the thing that you'd show it? And I found this loophole that I've used for the over a decade now that kind of helped me deal with this. And it's like the analogy of like a photographer who has like a contact sheet.
Hmm.
And, a photographer like goes out and takes all these photos, but they get back with their contact sheet and it's like, oh, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like they're like circling through to get it. And it's like, oh, okay, that one worked. We need to light you this way and kind of get you back in there and we're gonna do it. And and so it's like you're still getting these kind of contain like it ends with a photograph. Like it still
Hmm.
ends with this image, you know. Um yeah, I find a lot of comfort in that kind of metaphor for making too, like in terms of where it encapsulates, and so you kind of end up with these individual images or prints or things or um,
It's a really good analogy,
yeah,
actually. It
this is
clicks to me. It clicks to me really well. And in that analogy, right, it's like the system that you've produced or the algorithm or whatever. Like it is like the subject of the photo shoot, right? And you're just looking for the most
mhm.
flattering portrait of it that catches it in the best light or whatever. And that that that
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. It's a quite it's a, I think that's actually a quite astute way to think about that.
this
But
person
you
just
still
like
need to have that
decimated a whole
seed.
room of enemies with like one spell. That was
Well,
wild.
it was that crazy sword, right? You had a
I
spell.
don't know what
I was
that
going to say
was.
to
That
tie
was
it
just
back
like
to
it was
this, like you
extreme.
still need to be able to have that seed to be able to send to somebody to be able to watch them deliver that photograph.
Mhm.
The light has to hit the photo sensitive paper at some point, and that's what we've got this game for today. I
Yeah.
think that's a brilliant way to tie together
Great
all these
job,
beautiful
Billy.
concepts.
That's
Well
great.
done,
Thanks
everybody.
for Travis's art therapy hour. This was nice.
No, this
I
is
love it.
super,
I
man,
love it.
super fun actually. So there's something, yeah, I'm gonna go and plan my kid's birthday. There's something fun about just playing a game and being coached through a game. That was really fun. And also, I'm honestly just
Yeah.
just happy to chat with you guys after a couple weeks off. I gotta say, I was getting lonely here in my
Yeah, same.
studio.
Yeah, this
Yeah, I
is
miss
group
Maddow
art
too.
therapy. It's not just you, Trav,
Yeah,
but
we're all
we all
doing it.
benefit from
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Hopefully we have Maddo back next week.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Otherwise, we'll keep a candle on for him and this over and over again because this is still really valuable, I think.
Yeah, super fun. Let's
Yeah,
see you
for sure.
guys next week. And look, in the meantime, over the weekend, think about if there's something fun or like if we want to do some fun or weird stuff. I'm quite happy to be kind of jumping around different like attitudes and approaches to all this. I think it's fun. The most
Yeah,
important thing is just to get something that's fun because I seriously mean like I did find when I didn't have like that when I don't have enough contact of people to talk to in the week, I get really stir crazy inside my project. Um,
We could do our we could do our IO games soon. I played a couple IO games recently, and I was just
yeah.
like, God, they're so good. And
what
we
are
could do
IO
them real
games?
time together. Like they came in like 2015 when like WebSockets became prevalent on the internet, where you could just have like real
Snake.
time multiplayer browser based like extremely addictive games.
Okay, you want to do that?
Generals.io, Snakes.io, or Slither.io, Agar.io. I had a new version of Slither that's combined 2048 with Slither. It's like blocks
Yeah.
2048 Slither.
It's
They're
really
still
nice.
coming
I was
out.
playing that after we talked the other day. Yeah,
Do you want to do that next week and sort of like try like no agenda,
that's a
just
good
like
one.
shoot the breeze?
Well, let's check with Matt because I think he also said he really wanted to join with that one, and
Okay,
otherwise we could do it the week after.
okay, that'd be cool.
I'd also say that like there's something uh I don't know if you felt it, but like in terms of this interface of doing like a web-based game or something, like I feel like there's a
We can
casualness
all
to this
play.
that actually is kind of working really well in terms of the conversation.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
finding things like this is actually feels good.
yeah, that's great. Being
And
able to.
Geometry Dash. Speaking of like browser-based games, Geometry Dash is like becoming more
Oh
relevant to the
yeah,
Right.
game we've been working on, and it's like just like grueling speed run rhythm-based games is like definitely where my mind is heading. All right, but we
excellent.
don't need to do planning on live stream. We can do
Oh,
this
No,
next
that's
sorry.
week.
okay. We're gonna
Thanks
cut
very
all
much,
this
you
out and
all.
stuff anyway. We'll figure
Yeah,
it out. We
yeah,
got
yeah.
you here.
No,
Okay.
that's right. Yep.
All right. Hey, okay. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks. Nice to see you again.
Take care, y'all.
Bye, guys.